Hello guys and welcome to today's video, and we're going to do like a kind of a package deal here. We're going to be talking about Tropical Cyclone Fili and Invest 95W, since I have not been able to make two videos today as well. Um, just a reminder, tomorrow Colorado State University comes out with their 2022 Atlantic Hurricane Season predictions, and I will be doing a video covering that tomorrow, probably around 1 or 2 Eastern Daylight Time. So stay tuned for that. All right, so here we are. This is Tropical Cyclone Fili, and this is located at 21.8 south, 164.1 east. Maximum sustained winds are 55 knots or 65 miles per hour. Minimum central pressure is down to 989 millibars. Now you're probably thinking 998 or 989 millibars is getting close to a Category 1, cyclone here, but it's only 55 knots or 65 miles per hour. That's because that South Pac systems, they work a little bit different than your typical tropical cyclone, because most of these tropical cyclones form from a monsoonal origin. So that's probably why you're not seeing closer to 65 knot winds, in the system. All right, so here we are. This is the infrared satellite here, and as you guys can see, New Caledonia has been getting rained on for what feels like 2 days now. They probably got copious amounts of rain in some locations. And as you can see, the western side of the system has always been like the downfall of the system, so to speak. It's keeping the intensity leveled out. And I think it's because there's some wind shear going on and some dry air that is entrained on the western side of the system. And that's why it hasn't really been able to get going more than this. But, the damage is already being done in New Caledonia, at least when it comes to the rainfall totals, because as you can see, this storm is not in much of a hurry to really go anywhere. I mean, obviously it's not stalled, but it's moving slowly through these areas. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of these places in New Caledonia have seen 10 plus inches of rain. So that's not a good look to have. All right, so here we are with the Joint Typhoon Warning Center's update here for Tropical Cyclone Fili, and you can see here that they only predict this system to only go 3 or 4 more updates. Right now it's up at 55 knots, but it's going to start, tapering off here steadily as we go out through the next 2 days. And I assume by this point, 48 hours from now, this is going to transition into an extra tropical cyclone, because, why else would they just randomly stop this, this track here? So we're going to look at that here on the GFS momentarily here, or right now. And right now, this is initialized at 18Z. We're looking at 987 millibars, which is pretty right on the money for where it is. 26 knots of shear and 72% relative humidity, which is not. I mean, the relative humidity is good, but the shear is not. It's still getting sheared from the west, and that's why you see some of the convection displaced from the center of circulation. And as you can see, about 24 hours from now, 991. 24 knots of shear, which is not very good, and 71% relative humidity. And then after that, it kind of just fizzles out. And then another system forms here in the Coral Sea, which, once that becomes an invest, we'll definitely be talking about that at some point. And as you can see, it kind of both systems just merges together to form a extra tropical cyclone, really, as it heads into New Zealand. All right, so here is the Ecmwf, and this is pretty good initialization too, 989 millibars, which is pretty on the money here. Yep, 989. So Euro is good. We got 18 knots of shear and 69% relative humidity, which the shear is so-so. The relative humidity is not very good at all. So here is 24 hours out, 988. 22 knots a shear and 64% relative humidity, which is not really a good look whatsoever. And we start to head out through time, and then it just kind of just stays steady, and then does the loop-de-loop, and just kind of stalls until it eventually becomes into an extratropical cyclone as we head out through the latter part of the 5-day time frame. So with that being said, this would probably be my final update on Tropical Storm Fili as it, moves away from New Caledonia. And we're going to be focusing more on Invest 95W here. Even though obviously this is going to be an out to sea system. Yes, most of the time I usually cover land interactions here, but because this has a significant chance of becoming a typhoon, which would be the first typhoon of the Western Pacific, season, it's a big deal. So I'm going to be covering this as we head out through the next couple of days, or maybe even up to a week. So, with that being said, here are the particulars here for the system. It is located at 3.3 north, 149.1 east. Maximum sustained winds are at 20 knots or 25 miles per hour, and maximum central pressure is at 1,003 millibars. So not bad, not bad. So let's take a look at the infrared here. You can see the clear low-level center here around 3.5 and 148.5 east. So you can see the spin, right? And it's getting covered over with convection now, so that should help it strengthen from this point as we go out through time. And models do predict this to be a typhoon, but here's the thing: GFS, it forms something else into a typhoon and not 95. But European says 95 is going to be that typhoon. So here's the thing: this is on the tail end of a monsoon trough here. And usually monsoon troughs are a nightmare to forecast, and that's why GFS is a little bit confused on which low pressure area is going to be the one to dominate and become that typhoon. If I was a betting man, I'd put my money on 95W. That's because of the environment that it has in front of it for that time being. And you can see it here. It's starting to organize nicely here because of the convection that has blown up over the low-level center. So we're going to have to see how it does over the course of the night and over the day tomorrow as we head out through time. All right, so here is the GEPS tracks and minimal MSLP. And you can see by the GEPS that it does eventually make it into a named storm. And you can see that it peaks at around 993 millibars. But you can see all these spaghetti plots, all randomly placed throughout the map. These are all the ensemble members of the GEPS. And, some take it from, 1,000 to 990, some 990 to 980, and then you got some that wants to take it to 970 to 960. So, it's up in the air whether, the GEPS has it, getting stronger or staying weaker. We'll just have to see what pans out. All right, so here's the GEFS minimal MSLP, and you can see the spread, the massive spread here. There's a lot of these models that take it down to 970, 960, and then you see these purples here, right? That's indicative of 950 to 940 millibars. But as you can see from the average mean here, it kind of peaks around 977 millibars. So, we're just going to have to see how it all pans out, during the next couple of days. All right, so now we're going to take a look at the 18Z here. And as you can see, there's a lot of low pressure areas. And like I said, this is from a monsoon trough that's in this area. So we're going to go out 24 hours here. And this is our system right here, I do believe. We are looking at 8 knots of shear and 83% relative humidity, which is good for development. But then, what is this right here? You guys are probably thinking, well, this model says that 95W is going to be a typhoon, and now GFS is showing a completely different scenario. This, I don't know. I think that this is not going to be the case right here. This 986. I do not think this is going to happen. I think 95W is going to be the dominant system here. And, as you can see, something in the South China Sea starts to get together too. So we're going to take a look at the 95W because this is what we're here for. We're here for 95W at this point. You're looking at 11 knots a shear and 93% relative humidity for the system, which is good. And then, as you can see, once we get to the 120-hour mark, it just kind of loses its low pressure system or low pressure number here. It's confusing for the GFS, these monsoon messes. We're just gonna have to see how it all pans out. 22 knots a shear and 87% relative humidity. See what because these systems are so close together. This one to the southwest and 95W, it's going to start doing a Fujiwara effect, which will kind of just make them rotate around each other as we head out through time. All right, so here is the Europeans' take on Invest 95W, and we're going to go about 48 hours out. So 1,003 millibars. We are looking at 6 knots a shear and 80% relative humidity, which is still pretty good. And then 72 hours, 1,001 millibars, 6 knots a shear and 81% relative humidity. And then, as you can see, we're going to go to 126 hours, which is 5 days and 5 days and 3 hours out, or 6 hours out. My bad. And as you can see, we got a typhoon here. 986 millibars here, 1 knot a shear and 82% relative humidity. So, the key takeaways here are that the GFS is not really good with monsoonal messes that this is here. And because 95W is on the tail end of the monsoon, it might have a little bit better of a time, getting together than it say if it was in the middle of the monsoon trough or, anywhere in between. So my best bet here as a forecaster, I would probably count on 95W being a typhoon at some point in time, whether it be 3 days from now, 5 days from now, or 7 days from now. That's how I'm feeling about it. Anyways, all right. So now we're going to take a look at the sea surface temperatures here, and where the system is. It's working with 29 and 30 degrees Celsius water, so it obviously has the hot temperatures to thrive in this environment. Plus, not to mention, because it's so close to the equator, that it's getting the beneficial, effects of the westerly wind burst that are coming through the area to help, tighten up the circulation. Because what the cyclone needs is westerly winds coming in from the south side of the system, and the east winds coming to the north side of the system, and that's what helps make it rotate. So, we're gonna have to see how it all pans out. But we got the waters, and I don't see like how this won't at least get a name. How it won't at least get a name. So with that being said, Invest 95W is going to be my main concern from this point on until something else pops up. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with the Colorado State University prediction, outlook. All right, have a nice day.